What's up, everyone? Thrall's Metal back again. I am Shredlord.
Jam and John.
McCrockneck.
And we are here to bring you a brand new segment that we are very excited about. We decided to make a companion series to our ranking videos, and the thought was, if we could create greatest hit albums for our favorite bands, what would be on them? And that sparks this whole debate here. So we decided to take it all the way back and go to our very first ranking, which was, in fact, Death. So for this particular one, we decided to take 2 songs from every album with 1 extra song thrown in, which was a toughie to decide, but we decided nonetheless. For this particular ranking, we are deciding to use every single album, as we like every single album Death has to offer. Moving on down the list, certain albums may not be included, and that's just the way it's going to go, because there's certain albums that don't deserve a song on the greatest hits, and that's a fact. So, because we're ADD or ADHD or whatever, we're going to go chronologically, because damn it just makes the most sense.
We're high-functioning something.
Something. Anyway, let's take it to the very first album, Scream Bloody Gore. Now, this album was very tough to decide. Every album was actually tough to decide, some more than others, though. I thought Scream Bloody Gore, actually, we had a decent amount there.
Yeah, I mean,
it was hard to chop.
We bounced back and forth between quite a few songs. The one commonality, and I mean, it was the first one that we all pretty much agreed was going on the board, Zombie Ritual.
Yeah.
That fantastic, like, harmony to lead it in. It's vicious, it's thrashy, it's just kind of ugly sounding. I have to have that song on there.
Yeah, and the other song is Evil Dead. I fought for this song to be on here. I absolutely love this opening riff. It's also named after one of the coolest horror movies of all time, representing Bruce Campbell, baby.
The Chin.
So, songs that we loved but just couldn't make the cut on this album would be Mutilation.
It broke my heart not having that one. I love that song.
And Baptized in Blood, which is another great song. Really, there's a lot of great songs on here, and the fact that we limited ourselves to 2 made this much more interesting. I think I had in my initial ranking 25 songs.
Yeah.
I was like, I have 25, and I'm willing to go down to 20, but then we had to go down to 15, and that sucked balls.
And when I did it, they said, okay, pick your favorites, right? And so when I started, I had like 15 songs between Scream Bloody Gore and Spiritual Healing alone. And then I was like, well, fuck, I have to pick songs from other albums. So.
And there became a problem.
Yep. The problem started. I think we're going to run into that problem in a lot of the bands we choose.
More than likely.
Probably suck, but, you know.
I mean, when you run into, like, albums that are often lauded as some of the best of whatever kind of metal, you know, you get an album that really just doesn't have any stinkers. And that was with the next one, my personal favorite, Leprosy. Now, immediately, we all had one particular dog in this race, and that was Pull the Plug, because...
How can you not?
Like, gun to my head, if someone said, tell me your favorite Death song, I would say Pull the Plug, and I would be hesitant about saying the word pull.
Yeah, sure.
But it is. Like, honestly, like, that's, like, the first thing I think of is that song is absolutely brilliant, and it was one of the first ones where I think, you know, Chuck kind of moved away from, like, zombies and gore and shit. Like, this was very relatable and very real. And the other song we picked was Left to Die, because I wanted a nice, thrashy barn burner. I initially wanted Primitive Ways, because that song absolutely fucking rips. Like, it's probably one of the most aggressive songs on that album. And Shred wanted Born Dead, which I was totally on board with. And honestly, if we had more room,
it would have been on there.
We'd put fucking all of Leprosy on there, because the album's brilliant. It's still my favorite.
But of course, we're us, and we said 15 songs, so we had to leave out things we wanted. We'll get to that here in a minute. Leprosy is one of the greatest albums of all time. You could have easily picked every song off of there and knocked out, 8, 9 songs right off the bat? Right?
Yeah.
So, and then we would have left other albums just without picks. And that still would have made sense, because Leprosy is awesome. So, of course, next in line, we have Spiritual Healing. And the first one that I think all of us picked right off the bat was the title track itself, Spiritual Healing, which is an awesome song.
I fucking love that song.
When Chuck Schuldiner has an album, the title track is always 10 out of 10 banger.
Yeah.
Always.
And, I mean, this is the first one where I think he had, like, someone to really match up his guitar skills. Like, no offense to Rick Ross, although that dude was awesome, but James Murphy is... James Murphy, and that's surely enough right there.
Right.
But that tapping intro on there, those off-time rhythms.
Yep.
Ugh, that song absolutely rules.
Yeah, the addition of James Murphy being able to take that band to a different level as far as the lead playing goes really helped push some of these songs to a new level that they hadn't really gone to yet in the previous.
And then we also have Altering the Future.
Love
Which
that song.
is another great song.
Altering the future.
The future!
I love that song. Again, I love that whole album. Again, like the weird rhythms on there. I do feel like Bill was a little bit out of his element in terms of the band progressing their sound, but I thought he did a solid job. But yeah, I mean, this was one that I feel like we could have picked any, like, you know, defensive personalities.
Dude, I wanted that song so bad. I love that song so much.
Yeah, that was probably 20 minutes.
You get speed metal, you get thrash, you get, oh man, just those harmonies. Oh, dude. I wanted defensive personalities, but of course, you know, what I want doesn't matter. So, yeah.
He might have got steamrolled on a 2-1.
I said, what about defensive personalities? And then both of them looked at me and said, go outside.
Yeah.
And I said, but I want to be a part of this. And they said, we'll go outside. And I said,
Living Monstrosity might have been in that mix too, but you were gung-ho about it.
I was gung-ho about
much.
that, and I'm still upset about it. So upset that I listened to it twice on the way here. And still, it's not on the list. Just like my hopes and dreams aren't really.
We didn't have room for that either, sorry.
Nah.
Yeah, there's
No one ever does.
15 tracks and no hopes and dreams. Yeah, I wrote that down, I think.
Sounds about right. Those are good lyrics, by the way. So moving on down the line, of course, we go to the next album, which would be Human. This was an album that I think all of us could have put. I mean, we say that, but I really mean that I probably could have put all the songs on here, including Cosmic Sea, and I don't care what Nick says. It doesn't matter. But the picks we ended up choosing are going to be Flattening of Emotions, of course, and Suicide Machine, because really that start of the album just was like...
Oh, man.
It was showcasing a totally new progression in the band's sound, and the addition of Sean Reinhart and the addition of Paul Masvidal being just totally jazz and fusion and Al Di Meola influenced really brought an amazing vibe to Chuck, and Chuck rode with it and created a fucking phenomenal album, a masterpiece.
The drum intro.
The drum intro for
Oh, dude, that's honestly, we can make that first track right here on this Greatest Hits. That could be first track. I mean, a lot of these could be first track, but I've always loved that drum intro and how it builds in the riff. And then Suicide Machine, that's just, again, another absolute banger. God, the melodies on this album, so fucking good.
The first 3 songs on the record alone, I think, are a perfect run.
We also had Together as One that was, you know, a runner-up, and Lack of Comprehension.
Great
I
song.
mean, another killer song. But again, those first two just set up the album, and man, it's really kind of hard to beat that. Next up, obviously, Individual Thought Patterns. Actually, one of my personal favorites, because I feel like this is probably their most technical album. And we went with some absolute bangers on here, too. One, very obvious one, Trapped in a Corner. Honestly, I still see it as like the strongest song on the album. That opening melody, the fucking giant, massive riffs.
Yep.
Gene Hoglan's insane drum performance on this album. It's a little bit more raw sounding than Human, but I just fucking dig this album. We also included Jealousy, which wasn't on my list initially, even though I do like that song. But these two definitely campaigned for it. And surprisingly, this is the one that got the additional pick, because I wrote these guys pretty hard about In Human Form as honestly one of my favorite Death tracks, period. I've always had a thing for that song. Again, there's like so many cool riff changes in there. Dude, amazing leads across that entire album. Who's the guy playing leads on that one?
Andy LaRocque from King Diamond. Chuck knew how to pick them, as always. And yeah, the leads throughout this are absolutely phenomenal. You know, they're just as amazing as the ones on Human, but it's a totally different style this time. And King Diamond's more straight ahead rock heavy metal approach really helped a lot of these songs on here, as they had that more raw or heavier kind of feel as they stepped a little bit away from that, you know, in Human. So yeah, Andy LaRocque was an absolute gem of a banger. The solo in Trapped in a Corner is one of my favorite Death solos, period. The fact that he doubles all that lead, too, is just... He's a gross human being, and he should be loved, feared, and respected.
I mean, the only other solo that I liked maybe more was the one on Mentally Blind, which was a runner-up on this one. I had that one initially on my list, but this one, I don't know, for some odd reason, became really tough picking tracks on this one. And I believe you campaigned for the title track.
That's correct. Yep, that's correct, which is also a banger, but I mean... Picking favorite songs from a band that doesn't have any stinkers to begin with is tough to do. I mean, Death's greatest hits, just all the albums on shuffle.
That's
really.
fair. I'd still skip Cosmic Sea.
Fucker.
Then, of course, moving right along in line, we have Symbolic. And from Symbolic, once again, songs were kind of difficult to pick. We had a few, and of course, we were only allowed 2. But we had 4. Not going to name off those 4, but I will tell you, Crystal Mountain was certainly a pick, I think, amongst all of us.
I think we all had that one.
Yep.
That's just a really beautiful song.
Here on Crystal Mountain, my anus is reborn.
Yeah, just great fucking riffs.
Yep, great. I mean, that's Death. And then Empty Words, of course, which is another banger track.
Sleeper track on that one, too.
Yep.
I mean, again, this one... I don't listen to Symbolic that much. Like, in terms of Death, like, yeah, I go back to Leprosy quite a bit. Spiritual Healing, occasionally Human, and Individual Thought Patterns. But Symbolic, it has, like, a different appeal because it's, like, probably, at least at this point, like, the most melodic thing they had to offer. But Without Judgment, Thousand Eyes, and Zero Tolerance, which I know you campaigned for.
I did.
That was, like, one of the first Death songs I ever heard on a comp, like, fucking forever ago.
And last but certainly not least, the last album, The Sound of Perseverance. This was, I'm going to be honest with you, I had the least amount of songs come from this album, and it's not even close. I like The Sound of Perseverance, but I guess by the time we got here, it still has the worst cover I've ever heard. I'm sorry.
Oh, well.
I'm sorry. For me, I love Death covers, but vocally it's like, who does them worse, Alexi or Chuck? And I don't know.
I mean, in terms of like Chuck's vocals, like my cutoff in terms of like where I think he sounds really good is Spiritual Healing. Then kind of after that, he's started pursuing that higher register scream, and it just, I don't know, it didn't resonate the same.
He had different music to work with too, because by the time you get to Human, Death becomes like a totally different entity at that point. Yeah. Especially Human and Individual Thought Patterns, where it was just kind of wacky.
Yeah, I like Evil Chuck more than I like Progressive Chuck, at least in terms of the vocals.
Yeah, and the fact that this basically was supposed to be a Controlled Deny album anyway, it's still a good album, but it definitely has a much different vibe than the rest of them. I know we say that a lot, but this one kind of, I think it separates the most, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, stylistically, like, again, like, if you started here and listened to the other Death albums, like, especially if you listen to them out of order, there were points in here you probably wouldn't even think it was the same band. Like,
correct.
In terms of, like, the music, the song construction, the style, like, I would still call this, like, progressive death metal, but I don't know. Like, again, like, I like this album, but, I mean, if anyone saw our ranking, that's still my least favorite out of the batch.
Even though we feel that way about this album, there was still plenty of songs to choose from. There are great songs on this album. The 2 we chose were Spirit Crusher, which is a great, great song, heavy, and Flesh and the Power It Holds, which is, I mean...
probably the proggiest thing they ever wrote.
Proggiest thing they ever did, yeah.
Definitely.
Like, legit.
Yep.
Like, I love every second of that song. Vocally, all right, again, like, I wasn't a fan of the vocals on this album, and, you know, to a degree, like a lot of, like, later Death. But musically, the song was fantastic.
Great transitions.
Oh, my God.
My goodness.
And I kind of complain about Richard Christie's drum performance in here. Like, yeah, it's brilliant. It's technical. It's too fucking busy at times. Like, I swear, like, there are fills where he felt like he had to hit every fucking thing in the kit.
Drummers, right?
Red drummers.
The worst.
You got a big kit, you know, you want to hit all the stuff. Drums are expensive. Why not hit it all?
Yeah, I mean, I guess use it, right? You're paying for
right,
it.
Exactly. Use it or lose it, right?
I mean, he had a huge fucking kit from what we saw in the studio footage, and he did use it. We also had a couple of runner-ups on here. The opening track, Scavenger of Human Sorrow, I really like that, especially the thrashier sections. And Bite the Pain, kind of a sleeper on this one because, man, once you get down to that galloping, syncopated chug, like, it's one of the most aggressive songs on the album. But, again, we only had space for 2 on here, and, I mean, I wanted to get, like, 2 that were kind of different, and Flesh and the Power It Holds, I think, is, again, kind of like the big fucking centerpiece of that album.
Yeah, and really, if we're making a greatest hits album, it absolutely should be on there because it is such a a unique song, being the most proggy thing they've ever done, and it's definitely a standout track of theirs, so it absolutely had to be included. It was crazy to try and break it down. There was a lot of scuffling. There were some hurt feelings, hurt asses.
I took my ball and went home.
Yeah, you know, we got him back though. We called, you know, we said, come on,
I'm here now.
Come on,
You know.
defensive personalities be in the album? Fuck no.
You know, Shred bought me a pink lemonade, so I mean, we're
good now.
You know, we're
good now. So yeah, we've made our amends, but actually, as much as we bickered sometimes about the picks, it was a lot of fun to kind of go back and really have that power to kind of create your own greatest hits and see what you would put on. The two things I would love for you guys to do is make your own greatest hits. If you had 15 songs to choose from, I'd love to see in the comments below what you guys thought your greatest hits would be. And just quickly to recap, because we talked about a lot of different songs on this and then ones that didn't make it, I feel like I need to recap this. So, here is the Thrall's Death Greatest Hits in completion, or to completion if you're at the Asian massage parlor. I see you, Mama Yang. Scream Bloody Gore, we chose Zombie Ritual and Evil Dead. Leprosy, Pull the Plug and Left to Die. Spiritual Healing, the title track Spiritual Healing and Altering the Future. Human, we chose Flattening of Emotions and Suicide Machine. Individual Thought Patterns, Trapped in a Corner, Jealousy, and the bonus track in Human Form. Symbolic, we have Crystal Mountain and Empty Words. And last, we have Sound of Perseverance with Spirit Crusher and Flesh and the Power It Holds. That is our complete list of greatest hits. And you know what? I feel pretty good about it. I don't know about you guys.
I feel pretty solid. I'd jam that list. And, you know, honestly, this is just our list. I'm really curious about what you guys throw in here. You know, load us up with lists in the comments. You know, I'm kind of curious if anyone's going to omit any albums in here because, I mean, arguably, I think this is like one of the best discographies in death metal, period.
Now, if you didn't write all that down and for whatever reason you are curious to hear the songs that we chose, we have also provided a link at the bottom here in the description of a Spotify playlist that we made of this greatest hits. We will, in fact, be including a Spotify playlist with every single greatest hits thing we do from here on out. So it'll allow you guys to hear what we think, and like we said, if you don't agree with what we think, or even if you do, or if you want to omit some things and do whatever, put your list down there too, because we'd love to hear it.
So, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They are only 99 cents. And our lone perk for memberships is doing a members-only live stream, which we'll probably be doing one after we get back from MDF, because we'll actually have stories to tell, and it won't just be a blur of dick jokes and more dick jokes. It probably will be dick jokes, but we'll be talking about other bands that we saw too. But memberships are the main way to support the channel now. We also have our store, thrallsmetal.com, which is linked down below. We have t-shirts and hats. And of course, if you'd like to become a member of this channel, which personally I think is kind of a cool idea. I mean, you might have different thoughts on that, but you're wrong. Just hit the join button down there. And cool.
And even if you don't hit the join button, that's totally fine, because all the stuff we do here at Thralls of Metal, album reviews, discography rankings, this new thing we got going on, membership-only streams, non-membership only streams, they're both stupid, I promise you. Nick's never-ending collection updates, states of metal, is it not metal, all the time. That's what we do here at Thralls of Metal. We do it for you guys, because we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for being a part of this channel. Thank you for continuing to show up and leave comments and argue with Nick in the comments and do all the wonderful things that you do. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, as Jam and John said, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your days to spend with us, listen to what we have to say, and of course put in your input as well. It means the world to us that you stop by and say hi and talk shop with us, and we couldn't be any more appreciative. So thank you very much again, and with that, we will catch you later.